Over to Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service. Claudia bought a new house that backs up to a field. It's new construction, so she thought everything was sealed up, tight. But a week ago, she found evidence that a mouse had gotten into her pantry. She says, mind you, the pantry is in the middle of the house and doesn't have access to the outside. Brad, she's wondering, how did the mouse get there, and what's the most effective way of getting rid of it?
Okay, well, that's a pretty simple question. It gets in through one of dozens and dozens of holes that all of us have in the sides of our house, whether they're new construction or not. Every hose bib, every electrical outlet, every point that something comes through a wall is an access point for a mouse. It's an access point for an insect. So new construction, usually they do not go around and caulk up all of those holes or seal those holes. So that's the first thing you want to do, is make sure that all of those exterior points are sealed up, whether you use caulk, whether you use an expandable spray foam, or whether you use a pest control type exclusion product. Like we use products called Stuff It, an excluder that will keep insects and mice out. That's the first thing you do. Once they're in the house, then the best thing to do, depending on your level of squeamishness, is either put a trap out. Little peanut butter as bait works great. That would be, I would just set one of those up in the pantry. If you're not up to that, then call your favorite pest control company, and we have a variety of tools available to us to relocate those vermin.
One way or another. Yeah. All right, so you brought up some questions, because I'm sure there are a lot of our listeners who are experiencing or have experienced this particular type of problems. Yes. And I know you at Team Bug Out do this type of work, so I get that. Is there a better stuff to use to seal the holes that you would recommend?
So a lot of people will use the expandable spray foam, and it works okay. It's just kind of messy to deal with. Regular, clear caulk works really well as a sealant. Or, like I said, there are products that you can get. Stuff It is an all copper product. You want to be a little bit careful. I know people will poke, like Brillo pads or stainless or steel wool in those holes. You got to be careful with that, because those things rust and they will leave streaks on the side of your house. So if you want to take that project on, just make sure you're not putting any material in those holes that can rust. The other thing is, please, anywhere that you have an electrical line coming through, really best not to mess with it. Unless you really know what you're doing. And I definitely would not use any sort of metallic product in any hole around an electrical line, whether it's for your air conditioning unit, whether it's around an outlet. Those are always best sealed with a caulk,
like a clear caulk.
Yeah, it would probably be the best for those.
And then for the mouse traps, do you have one type over another, like the old-fashioned type that you set? And
so I'm a big fan of snap traps, not necessarily the ones that you find at the hardware store, because those often aren't. They don't work all the way. They might trap it, and then you're dealing with something that's kind of moving around, and that's not good for anybody. But there are a lot of different types of traps. Some even, in the Have a Heart type of line, where you're just, catching it essentially in a box or a little cage, and then you can take it outside. But don't let the mouse out in your backyard if you haven't sealed up all the holes, because they'll come right back in the same way that they arrived the first time.
Oh, that's good advice as well.
I was going to say, whose yard do you want to put them in?
Chuck's yard.
Yard.
Chuck's yard. Yeah. Somebody. The mouse might bring an apple pie for you, Chuck. I don't know.
I doubt that.
Okay.
No, but that's a very good question, Chuck. Who's that? Will you make the delivery? All right. A reminder: if you'd like to see what buyers and sellers are saying about us, you can go to LouisvilleZillow.com or LouisvilleGoogle.com. We've got a lot of reviews, and we're pretty proud of them.